The following podcast is brought to you by Cast Content Media.
Hey guys, it's Ron Worley, your most imperfect host of Sons of Ditches. People are liars, thieves, addicts, and assholes. Some people change, and a few make a difference. But everyone has a story. Hey everybody, another week of Sons of Ditches. Welcome to this episode with wonderful guest. I'm so excited. He's kind of got a background like mine. At 19 years old, he was addicted to Oxycontin. And then he just had his first daughter and dropped out of college and sort of had an impasse from there. What was he going to do? And so he built his future from scratch. He now owns a 7-figure business called Quest Education, a company that aims to empower and provide more freedom over your finances. One of the great things they do, guys, is they actually prep you for retirement, and that's really cool. He also is an author of a best-selling book. Congratulations on that, called The Blueprint to the Rest of Your Retirement. It just hit 5 different categories in Amazon as a bestseller. That's amazing because I wrote a book and it did not ever do that well. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Ronald, thank you for having me here. Appreciate the lovely introduction.
Yeah, that was botched, wasn't it? We're gonna have to do a lot of editing.
I mean, it's kind of like me and my golf game, bro. So, it ain't no thing.
Speaking of that, audience behind me, we happen to have my golf simulator. Next week we'll do something different, but that's a new thing we're trying out. Daniel, I wanted to ask, I like to warm up a little bit before we get rolling with your cool stuff. So today's by dictionary.com came out with the word of the day. And I just like to mess with these. I want to see if you can use the word fomite in a sentence. Do you want me to give you the definition of fomite first or after you try it?
Man, I think you'll probably get a better answer if I don't know what it means, because I have no idea what it means.
There we go. So actually, I'll get a great answer then, because this one's, you won't have any idea what it means.
Fomite, right?
Fomite, yep. Also, fomites with an S, because it's used most commonly as a plural.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give my family for Christmas a bunch of fomites for their Christmas morning.
Oh my
discovery.
gosh, I love it, but except for that's probably going to be a bad thing. So, fomites are surfaces as clothing or door handles that can become contaminated with pathogens when touched by a carrier of an infection, and can transmit pathogens to those who next touch the surface.
I mean, I figured it wasn't going to be anything special, right? So, geez, okay. My family loves me.
Yeah, you just gave them a bunch of infections on their door.
Nice.
All right, Daniel. So you have an amazing book out, and that's not even really what you do. Your big deal is the company, 7-figure year company, and it's widely successful. But you like to talk to people about getting a wrap on their finances. Is that right?
Yeah, basically the problem we solve in the marketplace is helping people access their retirement accounts penalty and tax free. Most people that have an IRA or 401k, they think that they can't access that money until they retire. Or if they do access the money, they're going to get crushed in penalties and taxes from the IRS. So
you're telling me otherwise. What is that? How can you give us a little hint?
So if you have a 401k from an old job or an IRA, and you're an entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form that doesn't have any W-2 employees, then you qualify for a solo 401k. And you could take your 401k from your old job or your IRA, get it moved over into a solo 401k. And then from there, you actually can take out money penalty and tax free, and you could use it however you want. It's got this really cool loan feature where you can use the money to pay off high interest rate credit card debt. We had a client here recently that needed like $10,000, $20,000 for their business. They needed some capital for product, and they liked the idea of using their retirement account, penalty and tax free, to fund their business. There's ways to do that, and you can use the retirement account to invest into crypto, real estate, private businesses, just a bunch of just off Wall Street based things that you could put your money to work in.
So that's basically off of the you talked about it. You basically are borrowing money from your own 401k rather than taking it out, so it avoids those taxes and fees. Is that?
Yeah. So the solo 401k has a loan feature. So like, let's just say someone has 100,000 in the solo 401k, and they owe 20% interest on $30,000 in credit card debt. Well, that's a tough spot to be in, because their retirement account, let's just say, is making 8% a year. Right. Well, if their retirement account is making 8% a year, but their credit card debt's costing them 20%, they're losing money faster than they're making money. So if they have $100,000 in their solo 401k and they use the loan feature, they take out 30,000 penalty and tax free, and then use that 30,000 to pay off the credit card debt in one shot. Meanwhile, the other 70,000, right? Because they started with 100, they took out 30 to pay off the debt. They're left with 70. That other 70,000 could be invested into precious metals, crypto, real estate, just a bunch of other alternative assets. Meanwhile, they took that 30,000, paid off the credit card debt. So now they're not making monthly payments to their credit card companies. They're not bleeding 20% interest. And now they're just paying back their solo 401k. They're their own bank, and they're replenishing the 30,000 they took out back into their solo 401k. So they're not robbing from their future. More importantly, they're sleeping a lot better, and their stress levels are down because they're out of their credit card debt situation.
Yeah, right on. So now if they borrow that 100 grand out, is that no longer collecting interest in the 401k, or is that money still?
No, it's outside of the account. They pulled it out. So the loan feature is them actually pulling the money out of the account. So you want to make sure, I'm not a financial advisor, but you want to make sure if you do this, you use it wisely, right? Don't take the money and go to Las Vegas, where I live, and put it on black, right? A lot of our clients will use the money to fund a business, and they know that their business is going to make way more than, their retirement account. Obviously everything has a risk, but paying off 20% interest rate credit card debt probably, is an option worth exploring.
Yeah, no doubt. These days, a lot of people have debt too. So you mentioned the word crypto, and I'm so happy you did. I was going to hit you up today and find out, what you know. So here, little history of my audience probably isn't, they probably are savvy, but not through my show for sure, because I've never really talked about crypto on the show. But man, I've gotten into crypto and NFTs in the last couple of months. There's some problems with our government right now, not knowing how to get their hands in there. Give us a short, brief take, or, what do you say about it? What do you say about crypto?
Yeah, I mean, basically my position comes from, helping people. What our company does is we help people set up self-directed retirement accounts like solo 401ks. So my position comes from a lot of people investing in crypto or want to invest in crypto. They don't realize that they could have their retirement account that they set up with us actually own crypto, and it can grow penalty and tax free. So imagine taking, $10,000 from, your retirement account and using that $10,000 to purchase Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, crypto you're talking about. Now that money, if you bought and sold it, you're not getting hit with taxes because it's done within the retirement account. So, if you're selling and you crushed it and you had a great rate of return, most people are paying taxes on that because there's taxable events triggered, but you're doing it inside of a retirement account where there's not that taxable event. So a lot of people aren't aware of that. And that's something that, we've been able to help people do.
So that's amazing. You said that. That's exactly where I'm headed this year, is a self-directed IRA where I can actually take my IRAs and of course, get into crypto with them. Much larger amounts than, say, my meme coins that I mess with, not large amounts, but gosh, if you play it right, your IRA should be large enough that you can collect some serious money, serious interest on the money. And then also, people are using crypto instead of bank accounts, right? So you're not, we've got a huge inflation issue right now. You're probably losing 40% from 2 years ago to now. What do you think about that? Taking money out and putting it in Bitcoin or something?
I mean, I think it comes down to a few different things, right? I mean, it comes down to risk tolerance, right? Crypto is super volatile.
Yeah.
I'm someone that plays the long game, right? So I'm not a big proponent of, and I'm just giving my personal opinion. I'm not giving
Sure.
financial advice. There's obviously people out there that are, day trading and buying and selling at a high frequency that are making good money. And there's a lot of people that are losing money, right? So I'm playing the long game. I do think that, Bitcoin and Ethereum, more specifically those two, probably aren't going anywhere anytime soon. I haven't had a chance to really pay it much attention and dabble into some of those more volatile coins, and obviously they're crushing it. But yeah, I'm with you. You have to find a way to hedge inflation in some way, shape, or form, and usually alternative assets like real estate. Obviously now we're seeing crypto, be pretty good plays to outpace inflation.
Well, in the stock market, of course, too. But what's your take? What's your take there? Am I going outside your bounds here?
So my company sells the vehicle, right? The vehicle is a self-directed IRA. The vehicle is the solo 401k, right? Like that's what we sell. We don't sell the investments, but because we sell the vehicle, that vehicle needs gas to go.
Yes.
Right. That vehicle can't move forward unless it has gas, and the gas is crypto. It's private equity, it's private lending, it's promissory notes, it's precious metals, it's real estate, it's all these different types of assets. So, a lot of our clients dabble in these types of investments. Stocks, there's a time and a place for them. Being able to have some exposure there is probably not a bad thing. I'm on the younger side. I'm 32 years old, so I have a higher risk tolerance, right? So crypto is something that makes sense, right? Someone that's 60, 70 years old probably is in a different spot. So it's kind of hard to talk bad about the stock market right now when it's up 20% this year. It's pretty wild. But we know historically that can't keep happening. We're due for a correction. And I think a lot of people forget that, 2008, 2009 was really bad. And it's crazy to think there's some people that don't even know what a stock market correction is. They're 25 years old and all they know is a bull run, right? So it's pretty wild out there.
That is so true. And I guess there are kids out there, believe it or not, that don't know anything about 2008. Also the
01 or 2000.
01, 2000. Yeah. So I actually did better in 2008, 2012 than most, but we all had to suck it up and figure out a way. But the old adage to those kind of pitfalls is buy. So buy when it's down. And but you know what? I did lose my ass in the stock market in 2008. Wasn't that the crush? The stock market died around then too.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could have got Apple and Costco and all those stocks. You did bring me up. You did remind me when you said lost my ass off. We all have like that one trade that we're like, shit, man. I bought PayPal towards the beginning at a good price.
Yeah.
And when I started my business 3 years ago, I actually sold all my PayPal because I needed cash to just dump in to this company. And it sucks, seeing PayPal do what it's doing. But, as entrepreneurs, we take risks, right? And 3 years ago when I started my company, I needed cash. So I put 0% credit cards, in the picture and depleted a lot of my savings. And, I went all in when I went from being, an employee, 9-to-5er to, entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just brought it up perfectly. We're just going to go wherever this conversation takes us, I hope. You just brought up the fact you needed cash and 0% interest credit cards. And that's amazing that you can do that. Now, we used to own nutrition stores, and every time we'd buy a new one, there was a cash shortage. We had to come up with enough cash, and we'd do some owner financing and whatnot. But, we used credit cards, even low interest bearing credit cards, as good as loans. And I remember once we had to use 6 different credit cards to get, to buy a business and get it off the ground. And those, some of them weren't so low. And so, you just do whatever it takes. But Give us a couple ideas on how you scrape together cash when you have a business to
Well,
start.
it's a lot easier to get money when you don't need it.
Yes.
When you need money, it's hard. It's a
Yeah.
lot harder, right? So like right now, one thing I'm doing is, I like the idea of getting business credit. Like I like the idea of getting, right now I don't need money, right? However, I have a really good credit score. And let me back up. We always need money as entrepreneurs, right? But like
Yeah.
I don't need financing at this point in time, right?
Right.
So logically it doesn't make sense. Like, why did I just get American Express to give me a $15,000 limit credit card? It's not like I need
Right.
it. However, I would rather put myself in a position now where my credit score is 750, 800 plus, and I have access to $100,000
Right.
where it's there if I need it,
Right.
So I know down the road, there might be a point in time where I do need it.
Hmm.
And when I do need it, I already have it. Not
Right.
when I need it, I'm trying to get it.
Right.
Right. So I think that's something that's really important. I learned from mistakes in the sense of, I didn't have credit cards. I'm 32. So I was 21, 22, 23 years old. I'm like, man, I don't need credit cards. Like I have, I'll just use cash. I'll use a debit card.
Right.
But the power of credit and utilization rates and keeping your credit card balances low and paying them off every month, but
Yep.
putting expenses on the credit cards to build credibility and usage with the credit cards and asking for limit increases to bring up your limits and
Yeah.
just playing the algorithm. Your credit score is a game, and
Right.
so it's really important. There's going to be a tightening within the economy right now. Underwriting is okay.
Mhm.
I could see underwriting with banks getting a lot more tighter in the future. So I would rather have good relationships and good limits on the credit cards now. So then that way, I can have a good possibility of keeping those high limits and be somebody that the banks want to work with in down the road.
Yeah, for sure. And someone I can't even remember who it was, taught me that using a credit card over a debit card was always better. Not only are you're helping your credit out, but you're using their money at a very low interest rate usually these days. And if your credit card gets ripped off, you have a bad purchase, whatever, you can always get that money back. It's insured. So credit cards aren't always the evil. I think wealthy people use them appropriately and know how to, and that's where you come in with the education, right?
Yeah, it's literally a game, right? There's cash back, there's points, there's rewards.
Yeah. Gosh.
Just make sure that you're not, using your credit card for dumb stuff,
Right.
and using it to cost you money with interest. Use it to your advantage.
We used to use it for inventory on our retail stores, and every year we had a family vacation bought and paid for by American Express.
Yeah.
Every year, one time in Hawaii, in fact. So,
Yeah. That's awesome.
it's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, no more. So I want to get into a little bit about your history. You were kind enough to share it. I think we share a lot of history. I was a drug addict and alcoholic. I personally don't, own that for the rest of my life. That's something that happened, and I don't drink and I don't drug. It's not something I have to think about every day now. But yours was OxyContin. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. And it's been a while for me too. I got clean in 2009, November. It's been the last time I used OxyContin, but I was a heavy, thank you. And you too, brother. Respect. It's never easy. Addiction I do, and I might ruffle some feathers here. People say that addiction is a disease.
Yeah.
I don't buy that shit.
Right.
Addiction is a choice, right? And I get it. There's different kinds of addiction, right? There's sex, there's porn, there's food, there's alcohol, there's drugs, there's cigarettes, there's all these different vices. But at the end of the day, I chose to get high. Now, are there addictive personalities? Yeah, I mean, I think I have one. Like, if I don't drink coffee, like I just keep drinking it. So I do believe that. But yeah, I mean, I'm like you. It's been a while, but I still like to own that in the sense that there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with addiction.
Yeah,
And
for
there's
sure.
a lot of people that could use some inspiration. Like, man, like there are possibilities. Like if he could do it, I could do it.
Absolutely.
That's how I did it back in the day as well, as looking up to other people. So yeah, OxyContin was something that was something I battled with when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, and had my daughter when I was 19 years old. And that's definitely a big reason why I was able to get clean. But I wouldn't have changed it for the world, man. It gave me a lot of a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience, and anyone that can beat addiction, I think they definitely have, a level of knowing that they can overcome a lot.
Well, I tell you what, the one thing that I did well was talking to my children about the addiction, all the things I went through, the times I was homeless, the times I was, just a criminal, a dirtbag, every piece of that, I would bring it up to them at appropriate ages, appropriate times. And, all of them are pretty dang responsible with their alcohol now. And, we didn't have alcohol in the house. And then, when they all got a little older, I started to have parties and things, and we would leave alcohol in the bar, but I never touched it. And so I think education, really, it's not a disease. I'm with you on that. I think it's more about the education and what are the symptoms? What are we trying to run from, and how are we abusing it or using it? Responsible people tend not to abuse things. It's just the way it is. So I don't know. You said, so how many kids do you have now?
I've got one. She's 12.
Just okay. So you're about to get to that time. Have you shared anything with her about your past?
Not yet, man. When we talk about drugs, that we do. I actually wasn't there when she was born. 2 weeks into it is when I actually got to hold her. Was not there at the hospital, unfortunately. I was too busy getting high. So, you got to forgive yourself. Right now you're listening to this, and maybe it wasn't drugs. Maybe it was something else. Like we all have a past. We all have done things that we're ashamed of. And it took me a while to forgive myself. And you have to get to a point where you find peace, because if you keep beating yourself up over it, you're not moving forward. And all we can do is just realize that we wake up and we have this beautiful world that we live in, and it's up to us to make the most of it. There's a reason why you're still breathing, why you're still alive today. And yes, what you did in the past was a mistake, but learn from it and keep moving forward.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think drug addicts, alcoholics become great people once they get sober. They know about giving back, and those lessons really are helpful. So we appreciate you sharing your story for sure. There's a lot of people out there that are still using, and actually we have back in our town anyways, we have an emergence of methamphetamines again. So
yeah, man, it's crazy out there. It's definitely fentanyl and all that wild, nasty stuff.
Yeah. What's crazy here now, I don't know about where are you at?
I'm in Vegas.
Vegas. Okay. I just got off the phone with my buddy who lives in Vegas. He lives out in Henderson.
Nice.
So you do have this same problem. We have an influx of homeless people. And I'm a bail bondsman as well, as amongst other things, but in our downtown area next to the courthouse, it's inundated, and we've had to even start locking the doors. They're pooping on our sidewalk, and it's been bad. And I don't know what it is. It's just really bad lately. And the cops can't do anything about it. We've got this issue where they can't arrest anybody anymore. They've got to give them tickets all the way up to, as long as you don't have a felony, you're getting a ticket. And here in Colorado, drugs are not felonies. Use of cocaine up to an ounce is absolutely a misdemeanor. So people are getting away with it. So I think that's what it is, but I don't know, man. What's it like there? You guys having that bail? What's it called? They're calling it bail. Oh my gosh. Bail reform. There you go.
I'm not aware of that, so I can't speak too intelligently on that.
Okay. Well, look out for it, man. Nobody's going to jail anymore. Yeah. Anyways, so tell us a little bit about how you went from basically nothing, an addict, and now you're a 7-figure a year man. And what's that process like? How do you make that switch in your head?
You got to touch the stove long enough and be willing to get burned, but then also know that eventually you can't be so stubborn that you got to do things a different way, because we all don't want to be told we're doing something wrong, right? Like we all have an ego. Right. So Just a lot of stumbling, a lot of failing. Didn't always have the best of financial habits growing up. 20, 21, 22 years old, I was in sales. So I had a pretty successful career in sales, working for other companies and made good money, but I spent more than I made, and I didn't have good habits.
Yeah.
Habits are everything. Habits make or break us. And I had poor habits financially. I could sell, but just as far as managing money and my credit and my taxes and things of that nature, it just was terrible.
Yeah.
But eventually, after touching the stove long enough and getting burned, I was able to learn from my mistakes. So, 23, 24, 25 years old, started saving money, started investing money, started building up my credit. Started, setting up an LLC and getting tax benefits and filing my taxes on time and like growing up, right?
Right.
And eventually was able to get to a point. Networking was very helpful for me. Networking has been key in helping me get to where I am today, and having some mentors and some great people in my corner.
Yep.
And, was able to learn a lot over the years. And 3 years ago, like I mentioned, earlier, sold my PayPal stock, emptied out my savings, maxed out my 0% credit cards, and went all in 3 years ago. So eventually, there's never the right time to start a business, right? Like a lot of
Right.
people think about like, okay, the stars have to align and this has to happen. Like,
Yep.
you just have to have a proof of concept, a way to sell and generate revenue, a way of acquiring clients, a way of retaining clients, and having a good process, customer experience, and just keep repeating.
I love that. You're speaking my language, and that's all about the values of the company. And it's a fact. My wife and I, Erin, started our first business in 2009, right after the crash, and everybody said, "No, it's not a good time." But it was all customer service. Once, to your point, good customer service wins all the time. It doesn't matter if it's online or in person. But good for you, man. That's 3 years ago, and now you're a seven. That's amazing time. 3 years to $1 million or more that's good stuff, man. You must be doing something right.
I appreciate that, man. I'm not a one man show. I had some help along the way, a ton of help along the way. Having people in my corner, and then just having an amazing staff, amazing team. You can't have a kick-ass company unless you've got kick-ass employees. So it starts with the employees. Because they're the ones on the front lines. They're the ones that are serving the customers. So they've got to be performing at an optimal level, and you have to make sure that they're set up for success.
Absolutely. And so for listeners out there that may own a company, and they're trying to maybe not be in the day-to-day, the old adage, work on your business, not in your business. What's your best piece of advice for that?
What can you automate? What can you delegate? And what can you delete?
Bingo. I love it. That's awesome, man. You guys hear that? That was freaking simple, bro.
we like to overcomplicate things, man. Like that's the human in all of us, right? Like we want to just make things harder than how it should be. So ultimately, you started your business for time freedom. I'm guessing you want to be able to spend time with your family and make money while you're sleeping, right? And travel and things like that. How can you do that if you're the bottleneck and your business can't function without you? That's why you have to figure out ways to automate, delegate, and there's going to be times where you got to delete whatever you're doing because it's not serving a purpose. It's not working.
Absolutely. Good job, man. I love it. All right. So where can we can get your book on Amazon? Probably most like, well, that obviously, but anywhere else you're going to be that people can come see you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, danielblue.me is the best place. That's got a link to my book, Blueprint to Your Best Retirement. Also has a link to my podcast called How Winners Win. Our mission there is to just help people win in their personal life, their financial life, their business life. So we're on all the major platforms there. Again, that's How Winners Win podcast. And then it's got a link to my course, some of the articles that I wrote on Forbes that gets in the nitty gritty on the solo 401k, self-directed IRA space. And then if you are listening and you have a 401k from an old job or an IRA and you're thinking, oh, shoot, I did not know I could access this money penalty and tax free. Like, I want to know more. There's a place there that you can fill out some basic information. And then someone from my team will reach out to you and see how we can get you from point A to point B.
I love it, man. That is so great. You guys get out there, check them out. I'm actually going to hit you up off air here because I'm getting ready to do some stuff. So I might need you here. We are at the end of the show. I'm only a half-hour show, unfortunately, but we are now playing the Brewster's Billions, the one you've been scared of. Have you thought about anything? So for my audience, this is brand new still. If you haven't tuned in a couple episodes, Brewster's Billions, you get $1 billion. You got to spend it in a month. You're not allowed to have assets when you're done, and no more cash when you're done.
Man, I grew up when I was 12 years old. My parents got divorced. My dad moved to Mexico, and it was just my mom and I. So she was just a single mom struggling, and sports was something that really helped me stay off the streets and not be as big of a knucklehead. Because I was really close to my dad, so that broke my heart when he left. So that's a no-brainer for me, man. Like I would invest that into the youth. My big vision is to have, I love playing soccer. I love playing sports. I love playing basketball. So just to have this massive sports complex and just have the ability for kids who are coming from broken homes to just come and play and have leagues and coaches and because coaches were big for me. Like they gave me wisdom, they gave me confidence. Sports is a great way to succeed in life and in business because there's so many parallels. You got to learn how to win, you got to learn how to lose, you got to learn how to communicate and fail. So that's what I would do.
Oh man, that's amazing. And giving it away is how you keep it. So that's a perfect answer. I love what you do, man. I sure appreciate you. You're super, super smart. Any last words of wisdom before I say goodbye?
No, man, just head over to danielblue.me if I've piqued your interest, and something on that website should captivate, what you're looking for. And, would love to be able to add some value, whether it's my articles, my book, follow me on social media. All my handles are there. And, appreciate the time, brother.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Everybody out there, get over and check him out. He's a cool dude, good guy, very smart. All right, guys, until next week, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Sons of Ditches. For more information, go to my website, ronworley.com, and my YouTube channel, Sons of Ditches, Facebook, Ron L. Worley, or Instagram at Ronald L. Worley II.